Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us for this Certificant Connection webinar. I'm Kevin Keller, CFP Board's CEO. Joining me today in CFP Board's Washington office is Kamila Elliott, a distinguished CFP professional and chair of the Board of Directors. And with us by phone from Florida is another distinguished CFP professional, Dan Moisand. Dan is chair-elect of the Board of Directors, and he'll join us a little later during the Q&A session. Today, we have some updates for you on CFP Board's new strategic priorities. We'll provide context for this morning's announcement that the annual CFP certification fee will increase later this year. And most importantly, we'll be answering your questions. Before we get started, let me go over a few housekeeping items. If you run into issues with the audio, or if it seems like the slides are out of sync, you should refresh your webinar console. Press F5 or Control-R for Windows systems, or Control+R for the Mac. There's a Q&A function on your screen that you can use to submit questions to us at any time during the program. We'll address as many questions as possible, and if we don't get to your question today, during the broadcast, we'll follow up and make sure we answer your question. So, Kamila, why don't we get started?
Thank you, Kevin. Last year, the Board of Directors adopted a new strategic plan to guide the CFP Board for the next few years. The plan is built around the 5 strategic priorities that you see here. At the center, we have CFP Board's core business standards and certification. We have blocks for access and awareness, which were part of our prior strategic priorities, and we have blocks for workforce development and for engagement, with regard to both regulatory and community engagement. Each block supports CFP Board's mission and vision. The process that led us to our new strategic priorities spanned several years. Because CFP Board has an important role in advancing the entire profession, we undertook an extensive process that began with a broad, profession-wide perspective. We convened a forum of nearly 100 leaders from across the financial advice ecosystem to discuss the future of financial advice and develop a shared picture of success for the profession. From there, we drilled down to the areas where CFP Board can make the most impact. And the plan we ended up with is a truly ambitious set of priorities and desired outcomes. Today, CFP Board stands in a pivotal and influential role, ready to welcome the opportunities and challenges of a still emerging financial planning profession. The professional body for financial planning, it is appropriate and essential for CFP Board to proactively lead the profession into the future. Our new plan requires CFP Board to step forward and lead initiatives that will involve the whole financial advice ecosystem. In many ways, it increases the value of CFP certification for everyone who holds it, for everyone who supports it, and for the public. As we looked at what will be required to achieve our new strategic priorities, we had to explore the necessary investments. To support the new strategic priorities, the Board of Directors approved a budget increase of $5.7 million for 2022, and $62 million for new investments over the next 5 years. Our work isn't for the sake of CFP Board alone, but has benefits for our partners, stakeholders, and the public. We all need to invest together to achieve our new strategic priorities. The Board has committed millions in funding from CFP Board's reserves. And we have made changes to some fee structures. As part of these changes, the Board of Directors unanimously voted to increase the certification fee for the first time since 2017. The new annual certification fee will be $455, which reflects an increase of $100. The new fee will be effective for renewals and initial certification beginning October 2022. Those of you with certification periods that end in October will begin to see the new fee on your renewal notices starting in June. So for example, my birthday is in July. I will not see the increase in my certification fee until July of 2023, which I, of course, will renew promptly when I get that email notification. So it's for those that are on that cycle starting after October 2022. So let's look at how the $100 increase will be invested. $15 goes to our public awareness campaign. This is the first increase of certification fee funding for the national advertising campaign since its launch in 2011, and it will address media inflation. It means each CFP professional will be contributing $160 each year to our public awareness campaign advertising. With that amount, you are each participating in and benefiting from a $15 million advertising campaign to increase awareness of your value to the public. Also, we will be refreshing the campaign advertising in 2023. $35 will then go to workforce development. This will support a number of initiatives, including a national initiative to promote financial planning as an attractive career choice among college-bound high school students, as well as expansion of our baccalaureate programs. These will raise recognition of financial planning as a profession on par with established professions like accounting, law, and medicine. We'll also facilitate growth of CFP professionals to meet the needs of the public and strengthen the pipeline of talent available to your practice or firm. $10 goes to the CFP Board Center for Financial Planning. The center's work helps expand the profession's talent pipeline and supports initiatives that advance diversity and inclusion. It also includes development of new research and resources for financial planners. The center's Knowledge for Practice initiative has led to the development of resources like the Financial Planning Review Journal and practitioner sessions at the annual Academic Research Colloquium. $20 goes to client impact research and practice resources. This will support development of empirical longitudinal research studies to assess the impact that financial planning has on clients' well-being. We'll also support other new research and resources for practitioners and expanded access to pro bono services. This is one of the aspects that really I'm truly excited about. You may have heard me say this before, but a lot of my clients, I'm the first financial advisor they've ever worked with. And it would be great to have a study where I can share the value that I can provide as a CFP professional in helping them achieve their long-term financial goals. And finally, $20 goes to enforcement. This will ensure the integrity of the CFP certification marks through CFP Board's work to uphold the Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. Our code and standards inspire confidence and trust among the public that our CFP professionals reflect the high standards of ethical conduct?
You know, Kamila, this is really important and a really important part of CFP Board's work. When we survey CFP professionals, they consistently tell us that one of their top priorities is enforcing the standards of CFP certification.
Yeah. And when you renew your CFP certification, you get the benefits of holding the CFP mark. You also gain access to the many resources CFP provides to CFP professionals. You are also contributing to programs that are strengthening the long-term relevance and sustainability of the financial planning profession. With that, the value of your CFP certification will continue to grow for you, for your employers, and for your clients.
And prospective clients.
Definitely prospective clients. So Kevin, let me turn this back to you.
Great, thank you so much, Kamila. I think it would be helpful to walk everyone through some of CFP Board's current and some of the upcoming initiatives that relate to each of the priorities that you laid out. CFP Board has ethical standards. Everybody knows about those, but we also have competency standards. In 2022, we will wrap up our work to review and update our ethical standards and their enforcement. Our Commission on Sanctions and Fitness will complete its review of our sanction guidelines and fitness standards. After that, likely in the beginning of 2023, we'll convene a new Competency Standards Commission to conduct a holistic review of our competency standards. Now, this includes experience, exam, and education requirements, both for initial certification and for ongoing and maintaining your certification. So we talk about the 4 E's of CFP certification. Competency really is 3 of those 4 E's. We've updated some of the individual competency standards over the years, but it's been at least 15, if not 20 years since we've taken a comprehensive look at the competency standards as an integrated group. All of this helps ensure that the integrity of CFP certification and the CFP marks continues to provide value to CFP professionals and to the public. The Standards and Certification Priority, or the Center block, also includes developing the principal knowledge topic list that is at the center of our education requirements for CFP certification. The latest practice analysis introduced a new domain called the Psychology of Financial Planning. And I'm pleased to share that CFP Board plans to release an e-book on the Psychology of Financial Planning later this month. We pulled together a great team of academics and practitioners to develop the e-book content, and we expect it'll be a great resource for students and candidates for CFP certification, for educators, and for practitioners. Everything we're doing in developing the principal knowledge topics is intended to be of practical use to CFP professionals and others, and it ultimately benefits the public. The next priority is access, defined as expanding access to competent and ethical financial planners by increasing both the number and the diversity of CFP professionals. We'll continue to work to grow the CFP certificate population, particularly among diverse segments. The program we're expanding in support of the access priority is one you may not have heard of. It's our candidate advocates. This is a group of personal success coaches on staff here at CFP Board that we've brought on in the last few years to proactively engage with candidates for CFP certification. We still have our contact center staff of representatives who address the more than 50,000 inbound calls that we get each year from stakeholders. But this new group of candidate advocates has been reaching out directly with personalized coaching for individuals as they move forward on their journey to becoming CFP professionals. Another initiative we're excited about under Access is growing the number of CFP professionals who provide pro bono financial planning. Establishing a pro bono tradition for the financial planning profession, I think, is an important part of elevating and enriching the profession while at the same time extending critical services to at-risk Americans in need of quality, objective financial guidance. CFP Board's role here will primarily be on the supply side. We'll work closely with the Foundation for Financial Planning as our primary partner in matching up CFP professionals with opportunities to offer pro bono planning. Many of you already provide pro bono planning, and we encourage you to report those hours to us through CFP Board's Certificant portal. The next priority is workforce, which is an essential area to develop for the profession's future. This is one area that I think requires a bold new initiative. This outcome will strengthen the talent available for your businesses. We are in the initial stages of planning a program to raise awareness of financial planning careers among college-bound students. Young people today have little awareness of financial planning and the fact that it's a great career option. We need to change that. This new initiative is envisioned as a collaborative movement to generate awareness among younger demographics about the rewarding and in-demand careers CFP professionals enjoy. This will advance CFP Board's workforce priority and also provide great value for financial planning educators as well as new talent for your practice. In addition, we need to increase the capacity of our degree-granting registered programs to accommodate what we expect to be an increase in the number of traditional students pursuing financial planning degrees and ultimately financial planning careers. So we're creating a university relations team to help strengthen our existing degree programs and grow new ones at colleges and universities across the country. Under our awareness priority, we're working to increase awareness of CFP certification as the must-have credential for both consumers and advisors of financial advice. Our public awareness campaign remains the primary initiative for our awareness priority. The advertising flight for this year's campaign is underway now, and I hope you've been catching the ads on your favorite TV network or online channel. The national campaign has really made an impact. The total awareness of CFP certification among our target audience was measured at 83% in our most recent brand tracking study, only a few percentage points away from the CPA designation, which has total awareness of 86%. We've also seen the campaign drive significant traffic to our consumer website. That's the letsmakeaplan.org website. Last year, we had more than 750,000 searches of consumers looking for a CFP professional. Our final priority is community and regulatory engagement. We intend to engage the financial advice ecosystem to advance the profession and influence policy for the benefit of the public. CFP Board's public policy activity is central to this priority, along with other collaborative activities such as meetings and conferences that CFP Board hosts. To advance community engagement, we plan to continue the industry-wide conversation that CFP Board has led in recent years, beginning with the Future of Financial Advice Forum that we hosted back in December of 2019 as part of the 50-year celebration of the creation of the financial planning profession. The leaders we've convened to date have helped shape the framework for a shared vision for the financial planning profession. We need to continue discussions around that vision and collaboratively develop solutions that will advance the profession. The regulatory engagement side will continue to advocate for fiduciary investment advice and for uniform standards for financial planning. Kamila?
Thank you, Kevin. We've set aside some time for your questions, but first I'd like to share a brief update on the CFP Board Center for Financial Planning.
You know, Kamila, we were just having a conversation yesterday. It's good that we're going to go over this because Michael Kitsis was saying, Kevin, I really don't understand the center and what it is. Is it part of CFP Board? Is it not part of CFP Board? So let's kind of dig into that.
It is definitely part of the CFP Board. Thank you, Kevin. And I'm pleased to share that Center's programs are having a positive impact on all of its priorities. We've had tremendous growth in the Center's scholarship programs. In 2021, we launched 5 new scholarship programs and ended the year with 80 new awards, the most given out in a single year. Through the Center's 10 scholarship programs, we offered more than $300,000 to recipients in 2021, an increase of 50% over 2020. Since the launch of its first scholarship program in 2016, the Center has awarded 180 scholarships, providing more than $800,000 to individuals pursuing CFP certification. The Center's programs are also achieving success in advancing diversity and inclusion. Our diversity summits and the reports have addressed a broad range of issues related to fostering a more diverse financial planner workforce, and they have inspired people to take action. At the end of 2021, the number of CFP professionals reached an all-time high of 92,055, an increase of 3.8% over 2020. Notably, within that growth, the number of Black and Hispanic CFP professionals grew to 4,196, an increase of 13.8% over 2020. The increase is nearly 4 times the growth rate of all CFP professionals. Overall, the class of 2021 welcomed 5,273 new CFP professionals, and that represents the largest and most diverse class in CFP Board's history. We hit all-time highs in the number of new women, Black, Hispanic, and biracial CFP professionals. Finally, the Center's third priority is knowledge for practice. This fall will bring the Center's 6th annual Academic Research Colloquium. This year brings the 5th year of publication for Financial Planning Review, the Center's peer-reviewed journal that features academic research within financial planning. CFP professionals have access to the journal as well to the Financial Planning Research Network, which is a collection of cutting-edge research in all areas of financial planning. So the $10 certification fee increase that will be allocated to the Center is supporting very valuable programs that are advancing the profession and developing helpful resources to the CFP community. We look forward to engaging leaders across the financial services industry to advance our shared vision for the profession's future. Through this process, we are committed to continuing the emergence of financial planning as an established profession. We are committed to ensuring that CFP professionals continue to remain satisfied with their careers and receive value from their CFP certification. I want to share with the audience today that we're a small RIA in Atlanta, Georgia.
Your new firm.
My new firm, Collective Wealth Partners, and we would be paying for this fee out of our pocket. So I'm paying this additional $100 fee from my pocket as well. And so we didn't take this fee increase lightly. We do know that, times are difficult for, some individuals. Inflation's high, but I'm committed to this profession, and I'm committed to the growth of CFP professionals and to advancing these priorities. Our 2020 survey of CFP professionals found that 93% are strongly satisfied with their decision to pursue CFP certification, and 93% would recommend CFP certification to other financial professionals. So I'm happy that we have that pretty broad commitment to this profession and within our CFP community. So we've covered a lot this afternoon, haven't we? Now let's welcome Dan Moisand to the conversation and get to your questions for us.
Good. Dan, are you there in Florida?
I am.
Happy you could be. We're going to give you the first question.
Oh, okay.
We're going to give you the first question, and Joseph asks, this is an easy one. We'll start on the easy ones, Dan. Joseph asks, what is the current total compensation that the Board of Directors for CFP Board receives?
We don't get a dime in compensation. CFP Board of Directors are all volunteer. Is he proposing to change that? I don't think that'll go over real well because that would require more dues increases or certification fee increases. So, and none of us are asking to be compensated. We do this because we care about financial planning profession. We care about the well-being of the public, and we're all here trying to move things forward a little bit during our 10 years on the board. So, but I'm glad the question came up because that is a point of confusion sometimes.
Indeed. Thank you, Dan. Kamila, next question for you. Bob asks, how will my practice benefit from the fee increase? So would you take that one?
Yeah, that's a great question, Bob. First I will talk about the public awareness campaign. Our goal is to ensure that the public does know and have awareness of the CFP certification. With that, as we referenced earlier, it's Let's Make a Plan. Individuals looking for CFP professionals can easily find you through that website. The next is, and as many firms, we want our firms to grow, right? We want to be able to employ individuals and have the next generation of planners. So our work with workforce development, going into high schools, going into colleges, and nurturing these individuals to move into this profession will help your firm long term. With your firm, we hope you want to have a diverse and inclusive environment. The U.S. demographics are getting more and more diverse every single year, and we hope that you would want to ensure that your clients and your employees at your firm are pretty aligned from a demographic and ethnicity and gender perspective. And then lastly, because we are still a fairly new profession, we do feel it's important to have the client research that you can share with your clients and with your prospects of the benefits of working with a CFP professional to reach their financial goals versus doing it themselves and alone.
Great. Thank you so much, Kamila. Next question's from Jason. Jason asks, what are your plans for partnership with CFP Board approved programs at universities? How else, how do we partner with them and what are we looking at? So, Jason, thank you for the question. I'll take that from the staff, and then Kamila or Dan, if you want to join in. The board set, first of all, as many of you, those of you who are certified know, there are several ways you can meet your education requirement. You can do it through, the bulk of the people do it through a certificate program. That's usually at the continuing education department or perhaps at Kaplan or the College for Financial Planning or Boston University or the American College. That's a way a lot of people get their degree. But increasingly, more and more people are getting their education requirement as part of a degree program. They actually either major or have a minor in financial planning. I've been at CFP Board now for 15 years. When I came, only 3% of the exam candidates came from a degree program. Last year, it was 12.3%. And the board has said, if you think about everything Kamila said about trying to elevate the profession and what are the gaps, an established profession typically has people, if you want to be an accountant, you major in accounting, you take the CPA exam, and you become an accountant. So the board has set a goal that in 10 years, 50% of the exam candidates will come from degree programs. In order to make that happen, there's a lot of work that has to happen. And part of that, as we talked, is a university relations function. But we also, you should know, have 130 colleges and universities that have degree programs. Many people know of the big and most prominent programs, typically at Georgia or Texas Tech or at Utah Valley University or Virginia Tech, but there are 130. We need to support those programs and boost the additional ones along the way. So thank you very much for that question, Jason. Dan, I'll come to you for the next question. Karen asks, did the board look at options for funding the new strategic plan other than raising the certificate fees? Dan?
Of course. I mean, nobody likes a fee increase, you know. It's a wholly unpopular thing, but it's a reality that it has to happen from time to time, particularly when you're in the mode of investing in the future. Just like we do at our own businesses, we have to invest for the future. But we didn't rely strictly on raising the certification fee. CFP Board does derive revenue from other sources, other fees related to registered programs, CE sponsors. There's going to be some alterations there. And as Kamila mentioned, we also took money out of our reserves to make a investment to give all these things a little bit of a boost. And just like you do in your own household, you've got reserves, and they're there for a reason. And sometimes it's there to cover, you know, emergencies when a tree falls on your roof, and other times it's to take advantage of opportunities. And CFP Board feels that there is an opportunity to move the profession forward by investing in these initiatives. And we've spoken by opening the wallet a little bit on the reserves as well. So yes, and of course we're always looking for ways to cut costs as well to keep things down. So yeah, a lot of time and effort went into trying to avoid a certification fee increase and to keep it as low as possible given what we're trying to do.
Hey, Dan, it really is a shared investment because in addition to, you know, this was not, as you said, just on the CFP certificates, we took money out of reserves, and also we're asking our registered programs, those certificate programs that benefit from CFP certification to pay more, as well as some of the CE providers. So I really, it is a shared investment across the profession. Let's see, the next question is from Nancy. Dan, you'll love this question because you and I just talked about it before we went on the air. How can we get better traction on the Let's Make a Plan website? My profile comes up on the third page of 4 in a 5-mile search of my zip code. Dan, I think you live in Melbourne, Florida. I think you said when you do a 5-mile search, it puts you in the middle of a swamp. If you're correct, is that right?
Well, not me personally. Yeah, I share your pain. It is a ongoing issue that is being worked on. I know. The basic problem is the functionality on the search is based on where the system puts a pin. And when I put in my town, it puts the pin in what is basically a swamp. And then it goes 5 miles from there, and it doesn't catch my address, even though my address is that exact city and state. And yeah, that part stinks. Well, until that's fixed, that lookup feature is going to have a little bit of an issue there. Continue to have that issue until it's fixed, obviously. But we are. I mean, one way that becomes a better function for planners is getting more eyeballs on the system to start with, and that's all part of the awareness campaign. Although we are limited in what we can advertise about that, aren't we, Kevin? We're advertising an awareness of the marks. We're not advertising any particular practice or style of practice. But those things work hand in hand. But none of us are really happy with that lookup feature.
And at the staff level, we've got some of the communications team who work on the website actually sitting in the room here, Dan, and so we've raised this issue, and it's on our agenda and near the top of it. So thank you for the question. Kamila, question for you. Carol writes, won't the fee increase possibly work against our goal to increase diversity?
Thank you for the question, Carol. It's a good one. And we did have a discussion, a very long discussion, about what is the fee increase, how does it impact to communities that we want to increase the number of CFP professionals. So we did some research. One is over half of CFP professionals are not personally paying the CFP certification fee. For the majority of them, this fee is being paid by their employer or their firm. And that's the case more and more so for younger CFP professionals, thinking about the more diverse demographic of our population and that talent pipeline that we're looking to nurture. But as someone who is considered to be diverse, one of the things that I do appreciate is where this money is going. This money is going to the Center for Financial Planning to increase diversity and inclusiveness in this profession. The money is going to the public awareness campaign to highlight the value of working with a CFP professional and a fiduciary. And I think that's really important for underrepresented groups that don't know where to go to obtain competent and ethical financial planning. And I think we all are in agreement that part of it will benefit us in terms of the client research that we talked about earlier. And I think one thing in that study, it just won't be a study of families and their experience working with a CFP professional, but we hope to have it broken out by representative demographics, by ethnicity, by gender, that will help us, for underrepresented groups, demonstrate the value of financial planning from a CFP professional.
You know, this longitudinal study, Kitsis was talking about it on his tweets. If you've been following, if you're not following the tweets, Michael tweeted this morning out. And I'm excited about a longitudinal study. Think about, I think the most famous longitudinal study is the twin survey, where they did identical twins. I think it's 70 or 80 years ago, and each year, every so often, they go back and they look at the identical twins. What we hope to do is, the way we're thinking about this, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 families across the United States, where we track them for a decade or more, and when we have families that are working with a CFP professional, we have families that are do-it-yourselfers who have no financial advice, and perhaps even we have families that have an advisor who's not CFP certified. And we look at these and the impact of their financial wellness on having a CFP professional or not as part of their family decision making as it relates to financial wellness. So, Dan, I'm coming to you for this next one, but I know Kamila will have a point of view, and I certainly do as well. What policies, Dan, what policies, values, and connections, this is from Susan, She asks, what policies, values, and connections, formal or informal, does CFP Board share with FPA and NAPFA? So why don't you take that one first, then Kamila, and I can speak to that as well.
Okay. Well, I've been a member of both those organizations for more than 20 years each. And on the values, the shared aspect of it, all three of those organizations view financial planning as a profession and wish to see it recognized as one by the public at large. There's a lot that goes into making that happen. CFP Board's role is to grant the CFP certification, the right to use the CFP marks, and decide who gets to keep the ability to use those marks. So we are establishing standards, we enforce those standards, we bring value to the table there. What's complementary from the membership organizations is that they're focused on the success, the business success of their individual members. Our role is to serve the public. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we do that through CFP certificates by making sure that our standards are good and they're enforced in a manner that is credible to the public and fair to the certificate. The FPA and NAPFA are more focused, and rightly so, and appropriately so, and wonderfully so, on the success of the individual practitioners in their businesses. They're much more into the practice management element of what goes on in the financial planning profession. So we do share a dream of the big picture of financial planning as a profession. We have different roles in getting there, and they're quite complementary. On a more formal basis, the alignment comes in the form of the Financial Planning Coalition, which has been around for over a decade, where when we have issues related to financial planning, we're all in agreement, we go with one voice to advocate for those things. So, Kevin, you wanted to add to that?
No, I'll let Kamila go. Anything else to add? I mean, we work so closely together.
Yeah, one thing to mention is that we are in close communication with both FPA and NAPFA. We actually had FPA join us at our recent board meeting. We met with NAPFA leadership about 2 weeks ago, Kevin and I, and we all have a shared vision for a profession that provides, competent, ethical financial planning. We all have a shared vision of advisors serving as a fiduciary and doing what's in the best interest of their clients when making investment recommendations and decisions and supporting with planning. So there's a lot of similarities and alignment, I shall say. But to Dan's point, our role is certifying. Our role is setting the code of ethics and standards of conduct. And we're happy to have FPA and NAPFA as partners with us in creating a community that can help support you all.
Great. I think we'd all be remiss if we didn't acknowledge and express our gratitude to both FPA and NAPFA for the role they have taken in upholding CFP certification as the singular standard for financial planning. So we want to say that. I know, Kamila, you have regular communications with Dennis, your peer at FPA. Dan's working with Jeff. I work with, the CEOs. We have a call for the coalition on a regular basis. So those are all ways that we work together. So thank you very much for that question. Michael asked, what do we do for certificants who can't afford the fee increase? I think that's a good question. So first of all, the annual certification fee is a condition for your certification, and we don't offer fee waivers, but I want you to know that if there's a severe hardship, we'll work with you. So give us a call and we'll work for you. So thank you very much, Michael, for that question. Here's another question that I can answer. How will increased resources committed to enforcement change what we're doing? So obviously that's That's a big question. 20%, we've said, is committed to enforcement. Look, we're not making changes in the enforcement process, so we're not coming out and doing examinations. But if you think about what certificates value, and when we survey certificants every other year, we ask them what of the components of CFP certification is most valuable to you. We've been doing the same survey the entire time I've been here every 2 years. And the top two things have not changed in the 15 years that I've been here. 1 and 2, and some years one is just a little higher, some years the other one. The two top things are building the brand and awareness of CFP certification, and the second is setting and enforcing the standards. Those two, when we survey you as CFP certificants, you tell us year in and year out that 92% of you say that that's either important or very important. So thank you very much for the question. We'll continue. We've bifurcated the detection and enforcement, or the detection and investigation function from the adjudication and appeals function. And so we're going to continue to stay really close to the public information. We're looking at state insurance sites. We're looking at state securities administrators, IAPD, broker check. But in addition to that, we make it easy for, clients who feel like they may have been treated in a way to report to us also. So a variety of ways, and we'll continue to do everything that we can. And I think it's what makes us different, candidly. There are 230 plus designations on the FINRA website, and there are only 4 organizations that have any evidence of public discipline. It's the CPAs, the CFA Institute, my friend Sean Walters at the old IMCA, now IWI, and CFP Board. And CFP Board publicly disciplined more individuals than the other 3, including the CPAs. So we take this very serious. It's an important part of CFP certification. Next question. Let's go to Dan on one here. Here's a question. Terry writes, why do I have to pay more for enforcement? Well, there we go, Terry. Dan, I'm going to let you fill in any of the cracks that I left there.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't enforce the standards, then the CFP marks become far less valuable. What did you just say, 230 plus designations, 4 of which do any kind of enforcement that involve the public knowing that something's gone on? The organization took one on the chin a few years ago, right? Over enforcement, over our ability to detect issues. And that, our ability to detect things is better than it's ever been. But as Kevin says, we're not inspecting in offices. We're not going to. This isn't a witch hunt. We're not out to get CFP certificates for failing to dot an I or crossing a T. Our job is to decide who gets to keep the marks, who's in the club, so to speak. And our ability to do that is better than ever after recovering from that black eye. We've also changed elements of our governance structure. And the board is now directly overseeing and monitoring what's going on in the enforcement process. And again, what we're after here is we want a process that is good, that is a due process of figuring out what has gone on with the client and whether this person violated our standards and then what should be done about it. We want it to be credible to the public, and we want it to be fair to the practitioner. And I think we're doing a terrific job given the limitations that the organization has. I mean, the only thing we can control is whether somebody can use the marks or not. We can't fine, we can't put you in jail if you do something bad. We can't throw the guy down the street that you don't like, into jail either. We can't do any of that. We can't have him disgorge ill-gotten gains or any of that stuff. But we can control who uses the marks, and we can control whether the public knows that they've had a problem with our standards. And without enforcement, the marks just really aren't worth much more than some of the other designations out there. And I think we all have invested a lot of time and effort into making the marks worthy of respect. And we've gone personally through the arduous process of becoming certified. It's not the easiest thing in the world to get. And, if you're dealing with people's life savings, it probably shouldn't be all that easy to get. But it should be easy to keep. If you are following fiduciary principles and you're being clear with your client and you're paying attention to the standards that were created by CFP practitioners, you really shouldn't have much of a problem at all.
Well said, Dan. Thank you. Thomas from the Garrett Planning Network writes, hats off to the Candidate Advocate Program. It's the reason I decided to complete the certification process and start my practice in this wonderful profession. So many thanks to Laverne and Lexi, part of our team. Thomas, thank you for the nice compliment for the staff here. We have a great team, and I appreciate you recognizing that. Kamila, I'll give this one to you. Sharon asks, how will the client impact research benefit me? You've spoken a little bit about that, but any other thoughts you want to add?
And also, thank you, Kevin, but to your point earlier, I think all CFP professionals will benefit from research that shows the value in working with a CFP professional and having individuals and families reach their financial goals. There's been different studies done through investment firms that we're aware of. One of them was like Vanguard's Advisors Alpha. But I think, we always want to have an academic-based process to evaluating the benefit to the public. And as professionals, we are looking forward to having something, and maybe a few years from now, but we would love to have something where we can show the value of our work to our clients and prospects.
Great. Thank you, Kamila. Dan, here's a question. I'm not sure how to pronounce this person's name. I think it's Achuda. Achuda asks, will it be possible for CFP certification to attain status similar to a CPA?
Will it be possible? Yeah, of course. And we're making
Dan,
progress.
I know you've written a lot about the topic.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy, obviously. One step at a time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, I hate to, be cliched, but that's what pops into my head when I hear that question. To fully get to that status, a lot of things have to happen, and we are making progress. The CFP marks is by far the most respected mark out there, and one sign of that is in our trade press. Every now and then, somebody's giving us a hard time about something. They're all critical about CFP Board. CFP Board this, CFP Board that. They should be doing this. They should be doing that. It's all great. It's also a sign that we're relevant, right? So that's helping. The 86% awareness of the CPA designation compared to an 83% for CFP designation is another sign that things are moving in a good direction. We have to build awareness. But it's gonna to fully get there, especially from a regulatory standpoint, licensing and issues like that. That's a really, really long process. But I think for the things that the little old financial planning community was able to do at its, starting with its founding, which was literally 13 people, right, to today where we've got over 92,000 certified financial planner certificates. We've made tremendous progress in trying to catch up to more established professions. But, yes, I think we could do it. And part of it is the professionalism that the vast majority of CFPs demonstrate every day in working with their clients. And, you can't undervalue that. nothing works if the individual CFP practitioner isn't making an impact on their clients. So we've kind of got that ace in the hole because there's more and more that are wanting to join the movement, so to speak. But it's going to take a long time.
Thanks, Dan. Kamila, we're coming up toward the top of the. There you go. We're coming up toward the top of the hour. Why don't I give you the last question? Dennis asks, when will you stop charging for the public awareness campaign?
Thank you, Dennis. So as you know, we're planners, and we always want to test the effectiveness of, the things that we're doing to promote the brand of the CFP professional. So we're monitoring the effectiveness of the campaigns and progress each year. And as long as the campaign continues to provide results and enforces the brand, we will continue to do so and continue to charge and run these ads. And most CFP professionals are in alignment with that. We did a 2021 survey, and CFP professionals, and 92% say that promoting and building the brand is very important. So that is the pillar associated with that. And we're listening to you. We're listening to what you want from us to help you, your firm, your practice, to be an effective planner. And with that, we'll continue to run those ads, and that fee will be commensurate with that.
Thank you, Kamila. We're just about out of time. Parting words from you?
Yeah, thank you so much. At the CFP Board, we're excited about the profession's future. Our priorities advance the value and visibility of the CFP certification to the public for CFP professionals and the firms they are affiliated with. They strengthen CFP certification standing as the high standard for competent and ethical personal financial planning. And they align with CFP professionals' priority for CFP Board, as well as advancing the profession. Our mission is something that we can't achieve on our own. So take this time to thank all of the volunteers that serve on our councils, our commissions, our committees, taking time away from your firm and building your practice, taking time away from your family to help build this profession. And for those that are joining this call this afternoon or morning, wherever you may be today, thank you for taking the time to hear from us, and we appreciate your time and your questions.
I also want to thank Kamila and Dan and the entire Board of Directors for setting such a clear direction for CFP Board's work over the next few years. I'm leaving early in the morning tomorrow. I'll be with Dan traveling around Florida. We'll be doing a version of this live in Orlando, Tampa, Bonita Springs, and Fort Lauderdale on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Thursday night, and Friday morning. So if you're in Florida and you can come join us, we very much would appreciate that. The staff is really energized by the new strategic priorities, and we're all actively working on these initiatives. In closing, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. A recording of this presentation will be posted on CFP Board's website within the next few business days, and CFP Board will follow up individually with those who ask questions but we did not get to during this broadcast. So again, thank you so much, and so long from Washington, D.C.